Welcome to Moments in History Channel. Ever wonder where the stories of Greek gods, epic heroes, and legendary kings began? Long before Athens had its Acropolis, or Sparta had its warriors, two incredible Bronze Age civilizations laid the groundwork for everything we think of as ancient Greece. These were the Minoans and the Mycenaeans, and their story is one of breathtaking art, mysterious palaces, and epic battles that would echo through eternity. So let's travel back in time, over 3,000 years ago, to the sun-drenched shores of the Aegean Sea, and uncover the secrets of these foundational cultures. Our journey begins on the beautiful island of Crete, around 3000 BCE. Here, a peaceful, seafaring people we call the Minoans built a society unlike any other. They weren't just skilled sailors. They were master builders, artists, and traders. At the heart of their world were magnificent palaces, the most famous of which is Knossos. Forget simple fortresses. Knossos was a sprawling labyrinth of rooms, halls, and courtyards. It had advanced plumbing, with terracotta pipes that provided fresh water and carried away waste, a level of engineering not seen again for centuries. The walls of these palaces weren't cold, bare stone. They were covered in vibrant frescoes, paintings that burst with life. You'd see dolphins leaping from azure waves, young men and women vaulting over charging bulls in a daring ritual, and elegant processions of beautifully dressed figures. These images give us a glimpse into a culture that seemed to celebrate nature, life, and beauty. There's a notable lack of war scenes in Minoan art, suggesting they were a largely peaceful society, preferring trade over conquest. Their power came from their fleet, which dominated the Mediterranean sea lanes, connecting Crete with Egypt, the Near East, and the Greek mainland. The Minoans also had their own unique forms of writing. First, a system of pictographic symbols called Cretan hieroglyphs, and later, a script known as Linear A. Here's the mystery. To this day, no one has been able to fully decipher them. What do they say? Are they recording trade deals, religious hymns, or royal decrees? The secrets of Linear A remain locked away, making the Minoans all the more enigmatic. Their religion was equally fascinating, centered on powerful goddesses, sacred symbols like the double axe or labyrinths, and rituals that took place in mountain peak sanctuaries and sacred caves. The bull was clearly a central figure, but its exact role, whether as a god, a sacrifice, or a symbol of power, is still debated by archaeologists. For over 1,000 years, the Minoans thrived, creating a sophisticated, artistic, and prosperous civilization. But as the Minoans reached their zenith, a new power was stirring on the Greek mainland. Around 1600 BCE, the Mycenaeans emerged, and they were a very different kind of people. While the Minoans built open, welcoming palaces, the Mycenaeans built imposing, heavily fortified citadels. Think of places like Mycenae, Tiryns, and Pylos, perched high on hills and protected by massive walls built from stones so large that later, Greeks believed they were built by the mythical Cyclopes. This tells you everything you need to know about their society. It was built for war. The Mycenaeans were a warrior culture ruled by powerful kings, or wanaks. Their graves, like the famous shaft graves at Mycenae, were filled with gold, bronze weapons, and stunning artifacts, including the legendary golden Mask of Agamemnon. This society was hierarchical, militaristic, and obsessed with glory and honor, themes that would later form the core of Greek epics. While the Minoans looked outward to the sea for trade, the Mycenaeans looked to conquest and tribute. But the Mycenaeans didn't just appear out of nowhere. They learned a great deal from their sophisticated neighbors on Crete. They adopted Minoan styles in their art, pottery, and architecture. They also adapted the Minoan writing system to fit their own language. The result was Linear B, and here's a major breakthrough. In the 1950s, a brilliant architect named Michael Ventris deciphered Linear B, proving it was an early form of the Greek language. This was a monumental discovery. It connected the Mycenaeans directly to the later classical Greeks, and confirmed that the heroes of Homer's epics actually spoke Greek. The Linear B tablets found at Pylos and other sites don't tell epic tales, but they give us an incredible detailed snapshot of Mycenaean life. They are meticulous administrative records, listing everything from chariot wheels and bronze armor to wool rations for weavers and offerings of perfumed oil to the gods. Speaking of gods, we see familiar names in these tablets: Zeus, Hera, Poseidon, proving that the Greek pantheon has roots deep in the Bronze Age. The Mycenaeans essentially took the Minoan palace system and repurposed it for their own needs, creating a highly organized, bureaucratic kingdom centered on the king and his warrior elite. The height of Mycenaean power is what we now call the heroic age. This is the world described in Homer's Iliad and Odyssey. The powerful king Agamemnon leading a coalition of Greek kings to attack the city of Troy. That was a story about Mycenaean warlords, the clever Odysseus, the mighty Achilles. These are the archetypes of the Mycenaean hero. For a long time, scholars thought the Trojan War was pure myth. But archaeological discoveries at the site of Troy in modern-day Turkey revealed a city that was destroyed around the same time the Mycenaeans were at their peak, lending credibility to the ancient tales. So we have these two major powers in the Aegean: the artistic, peaceful Minoans on Crete, and the militaristic, ambitious Mycenaeans on the mainland. For a time, they coexisted, traded, and influenced one another. Mycenaean artifacts are found in Crete, and Minoan goods are found on the mainland. But eventually, the balance of power shifted. Around 1450 BCE, many of the Minoan palaces were destroyed. While some were rebuilt, they now showed heavy Mycenaean influence, including the presence of Linear B tablets at Knossos. It seems the Mycenaeans took control of Crete, absorbing the remnants of the once great Minoan civilization into their own expanding empire. But the Mycenaean dominance was not to last forever. Around 1200 BCE, something catastrophic happened. Across the eastern Mediterranean, great civilizations collapsed. The Hittite Empire fell, Egypt was weakened, and trade routes were shattered. The Mycenaean citadels were also burned and abandoned. This period is known as the Late Bronze Age collapse. What caused it? There's no single answer. It was likely a perfect storm of factors: widespread drought and famine, internal rebellions, the disruption of trade networks, and invasions from mysterious groups known as the Sea Peoples. Whatever the cause, the magnificent palaces were left in ruins, the art of writing was lost, and Greece entered a dark age that would last for several hundred years. The population shrank, and communities became small and isolated. But the memory of the great kings and heroes of the Mycenaean age lived on. Their stories were passed down orally from generation to generation, told by bards around the campfire. And this is the incredible legacy of the Minoans and Mycenaeans. When Greece began to re-emerge from its dark age, these memories formed the foundation of its new culture. The poet Homer would gather these oral traditions and weave them into the Iliad and the Odyssey, creating the cornerstone of Western literature. The artistic and architectural ideas of the Minoans echoed in later Greek art. The language of the Mycenaeans evolved into classical Greek, the language of philosophy, drama, and democracy. The religious beliefs from the Bronze Age formed the basis of the Olympian gods. In essence, the Minoans were the brilliant innovators, the artists who showed what was possible. The Mycenaeans were the adapters and amplifiers, the warriors who created the legends. Without the palaces of Crete and the citadels of the mainland, there would be no Trojan War, no Achilles, and perhaps no Golden Age of Athens. They are the first two chapters in the incredible story of Western civilization, a story of beauty, power, and the enduring legacy of the ancient world. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this journey back in time, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Moments in History channel for more deep dives into ancient history. Let us know in the comments which civilization you'd like to see us cover next. See you in the next video.